What's good, everybody? If you've been in the UFC, if you've been a UFC fan in the last 10 years, I'm sure you're absolutely fucking sick of these fucking champions demanding to go fight for a second belt after not doing shit in their divisions or like defending their belt one time. What we do have to admit though is that these matchups that are made when a champ goes up, when a champ goes down, whatever, they're pretty fucking sick. These are some good ass matchups. And that's why I've gathered you here today. We will be going over what if every UFC champ fought up a division. What would happen if all of these guys just went up and fought the guy above them, alright? Starting with the first matchup, the heavyweight division. Going up to challenge Tom Aspinall will be Carlos Ulberg. Now, this is literally the worst case scenario because this should have been Yuri, first of all. That fucking fight still pisses me off. That result still breaks my fucking heart. And what this will actually look like in reality will be Aspinall fighting Pereira. That's the guy who's fighting Cyril Gane for the interim at the White House. There's no way Ulberg is ever going to touch Tom Aspinall or his belt. Like, no fucking shot. If that happens, bro, I genuinely don't come to school tomorrow. I do not want this fight to happen. But this is all hypothetical. Of course, as I said, it should have been Yuri. It's going to be Pereira. How would this fight go? Now, this is pretty interesting, because Ulberg is really fast for a light heavyweight. He does have good power. We saw that with the Reyes knockout. Like, he does have some good power. But that shit pales in comparison to Tom Aspinall, bro. Tom Aspinall has excellent power. He might even be faster than Carlos Ulberg. Better grappling, better wrestling, better submission threat. He's been doing MMA, jiu-jitsu, boxing, all that for way longer, as we know. Of course, Carlos Ulberg, retired stripper, got into the MMA game kind of late. I just think Tom Aspinall is a way better version of Carlos Ulberg. I take him to win this within 2 rounds. You know, maybe the first round they feel each other out. You know, Cyril Gane versus Tom Aspinall type shit. But I take Tom Aspinall to win this shit within 2 rounds by knockout. Pretty easily, alright? Now let's get on to something I want to talk about, alright? Sean Strickland versus Carlos Ulberg. Now this is a crazy reality we live in. Because what this fight should have been, the middleweight champion fighting the light heavyweight champion, it should have been Hamzat fighting Yuri. Now that's a sick fucking matchup. Instead we got these fucking guys, bro. Carlos Ulberg somehow beating Yuri Prochazka on one knee. And Sean Strickland somehow beating fucking Dricus du Plessis. Alright, with one shoulder. Fucking white trash, like just white trash masterclass from Sean Strickland. What a weird reality we live in where both of these guys are the champions now. Is this not fucking weird to look at, bro? Sean Strickland versus Ulberg. This is technically a fight that could happen at some point. Is that not fucking crazy to you? Yuri versus Hamzat just looks so right. I gotta make a part 2 of fights we could have had, and I gotta put Yuri versus Hamzat for the belt, because that fight might happen. As we know, Hamzat's been talking about he had to cut like 40 pounds for this last fight. He wants to move up to 205. He told Dana he wants to move up, either get the rematch or move up. But yeah, man, this is the fucking fight we got somehow, and I think this would end up being just a boring striking fight with no highlights. And Ulberg would probably win by like split decision or some shit, bro. There's a reason we don't give a fuck about these guys fighting, alright? Next matchup. Islam Makhachev versus Sean Diddy Combs Strickland. Oh my god. Long story short, it's fucking over, bro. In my opinion, this fight would go like how we all thought the Hamzat. Yes, we all thought, alright? If you had Strickland winning, no, you fucking didn't, bro. I think this fight would go how we all thought the Hamzat Strickland fight would go, except without the sub. Me personally, of course, best predictor on YouTube, I predicted Hamzat by round 2 sub. And the second round was when Hamzat fucking pulled guard twice on Strickland. So there goes my fucking prediction, right? But I think this fight would just be Islam really controlling Strickland. And I feel like this isn't glaze, but I just think the weight cut is really what did it for Hamzat. I'm not coping, I'm not doing nothing. I'm very happy that Sean Strickland won. I don't give a fuck about my prediction. But I think the weight cut, cutting 40 pounds, I don't think Hamzat really even made weight. The UFC just kind of like pushed the scale so he would. The weight cut was really an issue for Hamzat, and we've seen how big Islam is. Yes, middleweight, he'd be one of the shorter middleweights. Like, imagine him versus fucking Alex Pereira, who used to fight at middleweight. But Islam versus Strickland, I think Islam would be able to get on the hips. Of course, Strickland stays up very tall. Islam's shown way better cardio. He's been in so many 5-round fights. Some have gone to decision, some haven't. Of course, we saw him. He had regardless of how long they went, he's had so many 5-round camp preparations. 5 round against Charles Oliveira. You know, he had to prepare for that. Only went 2 rounds. He had to do the 5 rounds against Volkanovski. He did the Volkanovski rematch, Dustin Poirier. These are all 5-round camps that he's had. You know, Moicano, who's supposed to be Armin. I think he has the cardio that Khamzat was lacking. He would not have to cut weight. He actually would probably bulk up to go fight Strickland. And I think it would just be an Islam decision. I don't think Strickland's getting finished. I don't think Strickland's going to be able to rock Islam the same way he rocked against Khamzat. And it just wouldn't be a great night for Strickland, in my opinion, all right? Let's get on to the next matchup. Ilia Topuria versus Makhachev. I don't know if you guys can hear me fucking deviously rubbing my hands together like the flight gif. Man, this fight would be elite. This is genuinely, I know we've talked about this fight to death on this channel, on every single fucking channel on the internet. Man, this is genuinely the best skill for skill matchup, the best pound for pound matchup we could get in the UFC. By fucking far. Wow. This would be at welterweight, which is, I think, the deciding factor for me. And I do favor Islam Makhachev at welterweight. At lightweight, I favor Ilia. That's how much of a fucking toss-up this fight is. This is really 155 to 170. Those 15 pounds, I think they sway the boat. This is like a 49 to 51, 51 to 49 matchup. Like, I think Ilia Topuria at lightweight wins 51%. And Islam at welterweight wins 51%. Like, this is really as close as you can get. Ilia Topuria, I'm sure he would do really good in the wrestling. He'd finally showcase some of the grappling he's always talking about. And Islam would be very competent on the feet. I think he'd use the high kick a lot. I think he'd probably go into southpaw and start blasting the right hand, trying to make Ilia not be able to use it. You know, of course, we know Ilia's hooks, but his right straight is super, super powerful. That's where he has a lot of his torque from. I think Islam would start blasting those kicks about welterweight. The size difference would be too much going to the later rounds. If it made it there, it would be just, you know, it would be suffering. I don't think Islam would submit Ilia, and I don't think he'd outstrike him or knock him out. So I think Islam at welterweight would win a decision. I think he would be able to grapple Ilia into the later rounds. I think we'd finally see, because we've never seen Ilia go 5 rounds, really. I mean, we saw him against, who was it? Against Josh Emmett go 5 rounds. But that was like doing 5 rounds on the heavy bag. You know, Josh Emmett, of course, all the credit to Ilia Topuria. He made Josh Emmett look like that. Josh Emmett is a pretty good fighter. But we've never seen Ilia go that far. And I think going that far against a guy who's constantly mixing it up, I don't think Islam would entertain the idea of striking on the feet with Ilia, especially in the earlier rounds. So I pick Islam to win at welterweight. Whether he wins or not, I believe, at that weight class depends on his game plan. If he's going out there to strike, it's over, bro. It's genuinely over. Say goodnight. You might as well bring a pillow with you, all right, if you're going out there to strike with Ilia. But if you're going in there, locked in, shooting first 5 seconds shot, yes, Ilia's going to sprawl. Yes, he's going to do this and that. He has a super wide base in that boxer stance. He is a little bit lower to the ground, going to be a little bit harder to take down. But just getting him thinking about the shot. Ilia doesn't throw knees. Ilia doesn't really throw kicks apart from the low kick. He doesn't really uppercut that much. Yes, he's uppercutted guys, but he usually, you know, at a distance disadvantage. So he's not going to be, or a reach disadvantage. So he's not really ever in the range of the uppercut unless he has him up against the fence. I favor Islam at welterweight, man. I mean, but honestly, if you pick Ilia, I'm not going to be mad. At lightweight, if you pick Islam, I'm not going to be mad either. This is a really 49-51 matchup, like I said, all right? Next fight. It's fucking over, bro. Volk versus Ilia 2. Oh, it's never been more over. Oh, not only is this like a 38-year-old Volk, right? Not only has Volk already gotten chinned by Ilia, not only has he shown that he's become chinnier as he's got older, this would be fucking Alexander Volkanovski moving up to lightweight, where he's gotten knocked out by Islam, where he's at a fucking size disadvantage against Ilia for sure. Going up against a power puncher who's even more powerful at lightweight. Nah, it's literally over. Imagine seeing the UFC announce this fight. I think, honestly, fight day comes around, I'm not turning on my phone. And I think I'm not going back on the internet for 6 months. If the UFC announces this fight, I'm leaving the internet, alright? I'm disconnecting my YouTube channel. I'm turning off my phone. I'm going to the fucking wilderness for 6 months. Coming back to society only after this is settled down, because I know what's going to happen. And I don't want to see my GOAT slumped on the canvas again. Ilia would do him worse than he did him the first time, in quicker fashion, more brutal fashion. Bro, I genuinely would turn off my phone, go into the woods, and come back once everyone's done posting the clips on Instagram, bro. Because I'm not seeing this shit, bro. I don't want to see this shit again, alright? I don't even want to entertain this matchup. Maybe Volk could get the jab going, you know? Get the low kicks going. It's fucking over. Please, whatever you do, Volk, don't move back up to lightweight. You're good, bro. Finish your career at featherweight. Fight fucking Evloev. Fight fucking Sterling. And then go, man. Just call it a career. You're already top 3 Australians of all time. Top 10 human beings of all time, alright? Next matchup. Fat bitch is fighting over food, man. I got my search history on the right here. I don't know how that got in there. This is real midget WrestleMania, bro. This is a little person WrestleMania. Jan versus Volk. 2 of the most skilled guys, 2 of the most skilled strikers, 2 of the best MMA guys. You know, they mix it up super well. Going at it. 2 little short motherfuckers just beating the fuck out of each other, bro. This would be absolute cinema. I would love to watch the striking exchanges. I know neither of them would get chinned, which is a relief. I mean, maybe Volk at this point might get chinned, but this would be Volk going up against someone that's faster than him. And when have we seen that? Like, Yair was faster than him. Maybe Max Holloway in the second fight was a little bit quicker. Ilia's not faster. I think, yeah, this would be cinema, bro. I don't know who I would pick. Of course, Jan would be undersized. And we've seen Jan get wrestle-fucked by Merab in their second fight. But I don't know if Volk could do that to him. I don't think Volk would do that to him. I think Volk would stand up on the feet and they'd be fighting. I think, obviously, Volk would take the first 2 rounds and then the last 3 are in contention. Does Volk take the 3rd round? Does Jan take it? I think that's the swing round. In my opinion, I'm giving this 3rd round to Volk. I'd give it to Volk very close, especially if this is like an Australia event. I could definitely see the 3rd round going to Volk based on the crowd reaction. And then Volk winning a 48-47 decision over Petr Yan. People call it robbery, this isn't that, whatever. Volk wins, great win on his legacy. Because as we know, Yan is a real slow starter. Of course, in that second Merab fight, he beat Merab's ass from the get-go, but that's because he's already had 25 minutes in the cage with him. He's already studied, he's already downloaded the data. Alright? Against Volk, he'd be a slow starter just like he is against everyone else. And I think it would take him 3 rounds. Volk is very crafty. He mixes it up really well. I'm taking this as Volk right now, by the way. Don't give it 1 more year and Jan wins this shit. So yeah, man. Give me Volk by 48-47 decision. This would be probably one of the best wins on Volk's resume. Because he'd have Max Holloway. He'd have Yair. He'd have, like, some people would argue the first Makhachev fight. Which is, you know, that's not what we're doing. He'd have Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo. Like, he'd have a bunch of good names with Jan now. And he would for sure be fucking top 3, top 4 UFC fighters if he got this win, alright? Next matchup and our final matchup. Joshua Van versus Petr Yan. This is 2 little battle droid matchups. Of course, I remember MMA Guru calling Joshua Van his little battle droid. This is another like little person WrestleMania matchup right here. And again, on the feet. This will be really interesting, and I do believe at this point in their careers, I do favor Petr Yan. Petr Yan's in his prime. Joshua Van still coming into it. I think Petr Yan might drop the first round, but I don't think he dropped any more than that. He definitely not get rocked by Van. Van is a smaller flyweight, which is a crazy thing to say. How are you a small flyweight, right? Like, you're barely a person at that point. My fault. Please don't beat my ass. I think Petr Yan would drop the first round. This would be on the feet. And then he'd start building into it. He'd hit up a couple of judo trips on Van. He'd probably hit something crazy like a fucking Uchimata from a clinch up against the fence. He'd start blasting Van with the body kicks, hitting the arms. If they ever got up against the fence, you know, Petr Yan has really good, like, he has really good footwork. He's able to cut off the cage really well. The leg kicks wouldn't really affect Petr Yan, but I think they would affect Van since he does like that, like, more bladed stance. Yeah, man, I'd take Petr Yan. Give this fight like 5 years. Petr Yan, not 5 years. Give this fight like 3 years. Petr Yan is 3 years older. Joshua Van is 3 years older. They're still both fighting at the top of their divisions. Nothing bad happened. I'd probably take Van. But right now, give me Petr Yan to win this by decision. Like a 49-46 decision, alright? Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think about these matchups? There are some banger matchups, I'm not gonna lie, bro. These are some fights I would be hyped to see. Except the Ulberg versus Strickland fight. That shit would be mid as fuck. Or Ulberg versus Tom Aspinall. Like, I'm not trying to see that shit, bro. Basically, I don't like Ulberg. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go make lunch, alright? Ciao.